I know we're all stuck here in quarantine with the lack of things to do, and you're probably used to me reviewing figures. If you've watched my last few videos, thank you, by the way, if you did. But today we're going to be trying something a little different because I have been watching a shitload of movies. So, the first movie we're going to be reviewing today is not the most famous appearance of Art the Clown, but his first appearance. So, without further ado, let's get to the review. All Hallows Eve is an anthology feature film directed by Damien Leone and is really the first appearance of Art the Clown in well, a feature film, even though this movie is actually really just kind of a combination of several short films that Leone had already made that he kind of put together, and he created a new sort of uh, overarching plot in between these short films to make it into an actual movie. So that new overarching plot involves a babysitter babysitting two kids on Halloween night, and they've just gone back from trick-or-treating, and one of the kids has a mysterious VHS tape in his Halloween bag, and he decides, hey, I think we should watch this. And the babysitter's like, oh, hell no. We don't know what's on this. But, of course, she caves, and eventually they watch it and discover that all sorts of fucked up shit is on this tape. Is it real? Is it not real? Well, we're certainly gonna find out by the end of this movie. And I'm gonna be honest with you, the kids in this movie, they're pretty annoying. They're kind of little shits, especially the boy, and less so the girl. Like I said, it's more the boy kid, the kid that actually has the VHS tape in his bag. But they're not like unbearable or anything, and they really don't get that much screen time. Really, like this, even though it's supposed to be like the main overarching plot, it doesn't really get even as much screen time as the shorts do, as any of really the shorts. I don't even know if the this little rapper overarching plot even has as much screen time as one of the shorts if you were to take all the pieces of this main story and put it together. I'm not sure how long it would actually be. Um, but yeah, like I said, they decided to watch the first tape, and it's all sorts of fucked up. So the babysitter sends them to bed. She's like, "Go to bed. You shouldn't be watching this. If your parents really don't care, then you can just watch it tomorrow." And then of course she gets curious and she watches the rest of the tape, which includes various other shorts, and shorts are of varying degrees of quality. Like I said, they're combinations of shorts that Leon had already done. So it's really just, if you've seen the shorts already, there's no real reason to really watch this movie unless you're a diehard like Art the Clown Terrifier universe fanatic and just want that little bit extra with the new plot. But if you've seen the shorts and haven't seen Terrifier, you don't need to see this movie before you see Terrifier. But if you haven't seen the shorts, this is a nice point to jump on because you get all of them in one place. They're all there, and on top of that, you get this new plot, which adds a little bit more uh, into it and a little bit more art, which is really what we're coming into this movie to see anyway. So I'm pretty sure I've already basically told you whether you you should watch this movie or not, or whether it would be a good idea for you to watch this movie or not. So basically, if you've seen the short films, you don't need to watch this. If you haven't seen the short films, this is probably a good place to just get them all in there if you're interested in watching all the Art the Clown short films and stuff before you watch Terrifier. Or if you've already seen Terrifier, like me, I saw Terrifier before I even saw this movie, before I even knew this movie existed, really. Um, I went in with relatively low expectations and actually was pleasantly surprised by this movie. Um, the acting's schlocky. The entire movie is kind of schlocky, but it's actually a lot of fun, and art is still great, even though he is not played by David Howard Thornton, who plays him to perfection in Terrifier, and will be playing him again in Terrifier 2. But I had a lot of fun with this movie, even with the the schlocky bad parts of the movie, which I'm going to get into right now because I'm going to get into spoilers now. So if you're interested, go watch it. If you're not, if you don't care, stick around and listen to the spoiler stuff. So let's dive in. So like I said, the shorts are of varying quality. The very first short we see is basically just Art harassing this chick at a train station or a bus station, and he gets up to his various antics, which you'll definitely see the inspiration in Terrifier. You'll see that scenes in Terrifier were inspired by this short in particular. And yeah, he just kind of is all creepy and stuff, and but he does give her a nice flower, which is wonderful, until she realizes there's roaches in it, and then he proceeds to knock her out and I guess deliver her to some demon cult people. And there's a pregnant lady, and baby gets ripped out, and the pregnant lady's blood gets drinking by this Satan-looking dude, and that's short number one. Then that's when the babysitter's like, that's kind of fucked up, so you kids should go to bed and pretend you never saw that. So yeah. Oh, almost forgot, there's this really big, fleshy Outlast-looking guy that randomly I don't know, like, chops up her friend, and maybe he eats them, I don't know, but the girl escapes, runs away, and finds out that he's just, the person that she runs into after she escapes is a part of the demon cult, and she gets knocked out again before the whole baby pregnant lady blood stuff happens, so, yeah. Now, I wouldn't say this is the weakest short, because it's still got Art. It's got just Art being creepy in the beginning there. And then after that, I kind of like the, I'm pretty sure, I don't remember if this movie came out before the Outlast video game, but that dude really reminded me of that guy in Outlast that chases you around, so I didn't mind it. The ending's like, what the hell, this is like some, like, dark web YouTube, I guess that's sort of what they were going for, but some of the effects weren't the greatest, like this witchy poo lady, she maybe just kind of was a little bit laughable. The Satan dude was alright, kind of reminded me of Tim Curry in Legend, but, yeah, it knows what it was, you know, and then afterwards, of course, she sends him to bed, and then she decides that, you know, I'm just gonna sit back with a glass of wine and just watch a little bit more, which leads us into short 2, which is a little bit infamous among watchers of this movie for being pretty much completely out of left field and out of place. Probably because Damien Leone didn't even intend for it to be part of this universe at all. So, but it happened, and let's talk about it. So, short 2 involves a lady who has recently moved into a new home, her husband is a painter, and he recently painted this new art piece that is, like, really unsettling, and she can't look at it, so she's covered it with this blanket or sheet thing or whatever. So we're obviously going to find out what the hell that is by the end of this short. But that's not really the main plot of the short, like maybe you thought it would be. The real plot of this short is that some weird object crash lands outside her house, and then she called her husband after so the power dies, but then it immediately, like, comes back a little bit later. It's like this object created some sort of EMP or something when it landed, and then, like, she either calls her husband or her husband calls her, and she's like, something crashed outside the house. Like I said, the acting in this movie, not great. And then he's like, calm down, call 911, and if all the electronic stuff stops working again, then I'll call 911 just in case. And she's like, oh god, please don't hang up on me, and then he does, of course. then she discovers what really is going down, and what's really going down is there's a flippin' alien, and he just decides to carouse on up and slip into her house and try to like probe her with some weird alien squid thingy, and she beats him up like 5 times before he eventually drags her away. Which, of course, he gets her after she's hiding, and then, surprise, surprise, her phone goes off. Man, you people need to turn off your phones and all electronic devices when you're being stalked by a freaking killer in your house. In this case, an alien. Then her boyfriend's like, I called 911, it's all going to be okay. And she's like, no, it's not going to be okay. I'm going to get abducted by a fucking alien. And then she's gone. And as she's getting dragged away, she grabs onto the drapes covering the painting, of course, and the drapes get pulled back. And what do you know? It's a painting of Art the Clown. Because, of course, they had to throw in some sort of reference or something about art to have this have anything to do with the rest of the movie. And obviously this scene's a little bit infamous for being obviously the weakest of all the shorts, especially because the alien is not intimidating in the slightest and it's pretty laughable looking. So yeah, I mean, I took a break to get some more snacks during this scene, so that probably helped with the flow of things, because I had basically a break in between this scene as it played out. But I know a lot of people were like, oh god, this short just needs to end already so we can get on to other stuff, because this is like unintentionally hilarious and bad. But yeah, that was short too. In between all this, there's some scenes of like the kids in the bedroom trying to sleep. The girl can't sleep, she's freaked out by Art, so she goes to sleep in her brother's room. Her brother's like, thought you weren't scared, I thought you thought he was funny. And then she's like, shut up, Billy, or whatever the hell his name was. And then he ends up agreeing to let her sleep in his room, so she sleeps in his room. The babysitter comes back. She's like, I heard you guys downstairs like taking peeks at the screen or whatever. You should be asleep, and I told you not to do that and stuff. And then the kid's like, whatever, you should stop checking in on us every like 5 minutes. And she's like, what are you talking about? It's like, I heard you outside the door. And she's like, oh my god, I wasn't outside the door, but I can't tell them that because that'll freak them out. So then she's like, whatever, and then she leaves, and then she goes back, I think, to watch the final short. And yeah, so let's talk about the final short, which is probably my favorite, I'd say. It's probably the most well done and the most Art the Clown we see out of any of these shorts, and he has the most to do. This is the short film Terrifier. At first, I wasn't sure which one of these was actually the short film Terrifier, and I guess it's this one, which makes sense because it's the most Art the Clown, and you see the most carryover from this short to the Terrifier movie, so it makes sense. So let's talk about the final short and then the ending. Ooh. So basically, this costume designer lady for indie films, totally not meta there. She has to stop at this gas station. She's trying to go home. She lives in New York or something. So she stops at this old gas station. She can't hear, or nobody seems to be there. She knocks on the door and stuff, and then eventually, like, Art comes out, or Art's getting kicked out by this dude that's like, what the hell's your problem, man? Apparently he, like, shit and pissed all over the bathroom, which is another thing that's referenced in Terrifier. But yeah, so eventually Art leaves after being being creepy for a second. And then the guy's like, whatever, motherfucker. And then he talks to the girl, like, oh, I know where you're headed. I can give you directions on a sticky note or something. And, they talk for a little while. She tells him about how she works on movies and she's a costume designer. He's like, oh, cool. And then he goes away for reasons. I forget exactly why. Maybe he goes inside to get a pen and paper or something. And she's gone for a while, so she's like, what's the deal? She goes inside. What do you know? Art the Clown's in there! And he's hacking the dude up with the freaking saw. And he's like, oh, hey, bitch. You walked in on this, didn't you? Well, looks like you're gonna have to die, too. She runs out of there. She gets in her car, drives away, calls various people, and she's like, oh my god, someone's chasing me, he's trying to kill me. It's an evil clown. Art appears on the side of the road with a sign that says circus and stuff, and she gets freaked out. She keeps driving. At one point, Art tries to break into her car, but she drives away, and then eventually there's some car pulled off on the side of the road. She gets out to investigate. Maybe it's someone who can help her, but clearly they're freaking faces on the steering wheel. They're either dead or unconscious, but of course she's still gonna shake their shoulder and be like, hey, can you help me? And turns her over, and it's some chick without a face, another thing, reference to Terrifier. And then she freaks out, runs back to her car, drives away. Oh my god, this guy's trying to kill me. And then Art is in the backseat. Oh my god, he probably got in there while she was being stupid and trying to talk to a faceless, unconscious chick. And then he tries to choke her out with a plastic bag, but she tears it off. She slams on the brakes, which makes Art face plant into the dashboard. She leaves. She finds this other dude. She's like, yo, hitchhiker thumb thing, pick me up. He does. She's like, oh my god, this dude, he's trying to kill me. And, actually, let's back up a sec. After she escapes the car, I believe she first runs into a barn, and then barricades herself in. Art can't get in through traditional means, so he digs underneath and digs himself into the freaking shed. She could have, kicked him in the face or something, but she just sits there in the corner screaming, and then Art comes up, and he's got his, medieval bag flail thing with a bunch of, knives and stuff in it. He whacks her with that a couple times. She does end up escaping, however, after she stabs him in the face, but she doesn't finish the job because no one ever finishes the job in these movies, and that's where she goes and hitchhikes and gets picked up by the dude. So, like I said, they're driving, she's trying to explain things, but then freaking Art pulls up next to him, like, honk, honk, bitch, and then he shoots the guy in the face, and the car crashes. She loses consciousness, and oh no. She wakes up on some sort of operating table, and oh my god, she has been mutilated. Oh man, oh my. She has a bunch of, words carved into her, like, bitch, slut, whore, and, her arms and legs are chopped off, her breasts are cut off, she's just screaming, and Art's like, ha, bitch, I did that, ha, 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 and then, that's the end of the short. So, understandably, Babysitter Lay's all freaked out after this. She's like, I've had enough, I'm done with this, and she gets up to leave, or whatever. She turns off the tape. But then the phone rings. She's probably like, oh, yeah, it's probably the parents or something. Because they're supposed to be back in this night, apparently. And so she answers the phone, and it's not the parents. It's the chick. It's the chick from the last short. She's saying the same shit. She's saying, there's this clown dude. He's trying to kill me. Oh, my God. She's like, but she somehow doesn't seem to realize this. She treats it like it's a call she never heard before. She's like, who is this? What's going on? And then, after the phone hangs up, the TV turns back on mysteriously, and it's just this room, this weird dingy room, and then Art pops up from behind, a lamppost or something. He wanders up to the screen and starts banging on it. She's freaking out, trying to turn off the tape. The tape switches to her standing in the living room, except Art's on the couch behind her, and he starts coming up. And then she looks behind her, but he's not actually there. And then, but meanwhile, on the TV, he's getting closer and closer to her. But she eventually manages to get the tape out and destroy it or turn off the TV or whatnot, and she's like, "Oh God, what's going on? Is it over?" And then she like hears uh, screaming or something upstairs. So she goes up, and at the top of the staircase, she sees Art the Clown covered in blood, laughing, but not laughing because he doesn't make noise. Mime laughing at her, and then she's like, "Oh my God, he killed them." But then he just mysteriously vanishes, and she's like, "Oh, well, maybe this was all in my imagination." So then she goes upstairs, opens the door, but no, it wasn't in her imagination. Art just has some crazy teleportation powers because the kids are in there, or at least their heads are, because they are very much dead. Ooh, shock and awe, except you don't really care that much because the kids are pretty annoying, and especially the boy is kind of a piece of shit. But yeah, that's your shocker ending, and then it's over. Or at least you think it's over, until midway, like there's a little bit of a mid-credits scene where Art waves from behind the lamppost and walks up to the front of your TV like he's gonna come out of your TV and get you, like what happened in the previous scene with the babysitter lady, and that's where it really ends. So overall, this movie has a really old school grindhouse feel to it that I kind of like, and it is very schlocky, but in my opinion, it's schlocky goodness. I really enjoyed myself watching this movie, despite the questionable acting and some shorts that were less than stellar. I don't know. I just have fun with it in that B movie sort of way, you know. And Art is, of course, a fantastic villain. Even when he's not played by David Howard Thornton, he's still a memorable enough character to have gotten the solo movie treatment in the first place. Enough people liked him in these shorts in this movie to get Terrifier made. So I still had fun watching this movie, and if you watched this and got it all spoiled for you and still want to watch it anyway, I recommend it for in that way. If you enjoy like little B horror slasher movies and low budget indie stuff, I still had a fun time watching this movie. Probably too much fun, honestly, because it's not the greatest, but I don't know why. I just kind of like it, and it's now gonna be part of my Halloween watch list when my Halloween playlist when the season comes around. So that and Terrifier obviously will be on there. Hopefully Terrifier 2 will come out in October. Hopefully this whole virus situation doesn't postpone the release too much. But yeah, and also one weird little side note, the chick who plays the babysitter in this movie plays an entirely different character in Terrifier, so I don't know what, if any, continuity there is in these movies. Terrifier might just be sort of like a soft reboot, honestly. That would make sense. But yeah, overall, I hope you guys enjoyed this new sort of little thing I'm trying out. If you like this, if you like more, give it a thumbs up. Give me some views, and maybe I'll do more movie reviews. I'm gonna be doing more figure reviews, obviously. Probably more NECA stuff. Yeah, I might do some other stuff too. Like I got some DC Directs and things that I want to review. So we'll see what happens. But in the meantime, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one, whatever it may be.